Okay, we're all set.
Well, it's 7 o'clock, so we're going to begin our meeting. This is the Zoning Board of Appeals, and I'm pinch hitting, if you will, for the chairperson that normally be running this. That's Judy Ennis. She was involved in a traffic accident, and she is home recovering from a couple of broken bones. So hopefully she will be back among us soon. We wish her well. Before we begin the actual meeting, I think it'd be good for us to all go over the rules so that everybody knows what's going on. So if you are here and you wish to speak to the board on your behalf, it will be necessary for you in a little bit to give an oath saying that you'll be telling us the truth so that we are able to judge the correctness or the incorrectness of your request. The process is relatively simple. We will be first presenting to you or to the audience everything that's before us. So the very first person to speak will be me, and I will speak to the variance that's before us to discuss. And then Heather, on behalf of the city, will on that screen indicate the reasons why the city found a reason for you to have to be here tonight. And then we will invite you to come up here and speak. You'll go to the dais up here. When it is your opportunity to speak, you'll come up there and say your name, and you'll also give your home address where you live rather than where you work. And then speak loudly. All of this is being recorded so that if the variance to you is not granted this evening, you'll be able to have a chance to go to the Court of Common Pleas, and this will all be part of the record. So it's important for you to speak loudly into the microphone when you're up there. When the opportunity comes for you to speak, you'll have the opportunity to say to us whatever it is your reason why you need to have the variance. The variance is not yours, it belongs to the property. So when you are granted it, should that happen, it stays with the property, it does not go with you. You'll present the best information that you can for us. If we think we need to have some more information, the board will be asking you questions or maybe having some conversation with you. When all of that is concluded, we will go into executive session where you will retreat back to your chair and we will discuss it among ourselves if that's necessary. And then when that is concluded, we will go back to public session and we'll make a public vote. So you will know tonight whether you have the variance or you do not have the variance. You will not leave here wondering what's going on. If that's clear to everyone, then I'd like those people who intend to speak tonight, and whether it's used directly or a neighbor or whatever, if you wish to speak, please stand now and raise your right hand. If you would please stand. And repeat after me. I swear to tell the truth and all the truth, so help me God. Very good, thank you. The first thing that'll be before us tonight, if we're ready to go, Heather, will be the city of Bowling Green,
The minutes.
the parks and.
The minutes.
Approval of the
I'm
minutes
sorry,
first,
we didn't
please.
do minutes, thank you. We have 2 minutes first. Anybody make a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded.
Chris.
Having heard first and second, we will vote on it. All those in favor signify by saying aye,
Aye.
and those opposed by the same sign. Thank you. It's passed unanimously. Now we're ready to go. The first one is the City of Bowling Green Parks and Recreation Department has requested a variance to construct a 30-inch by 70-foot, 6¼ inch wall sign at 1245 Newton Road, that's on the Bowling Green Community Center, which would exceed the maximum allowable sign size of 32 square feet and the maximum allowable total sign aggregate of 64 feet within the I-1 institutional zoning classification. Heather.
Thank you. So under the zoning code, section 150.66, outdoor advertising in B, I, M, and S districts, under D, no outdoor advertising sign shall exceed the following limitation by district. So in this case, I-1 institutional, the allowable sign area is 32 square feet for the size of one sign. And then another section of the outdoor advertising, also under 150.66, is under E2. Total aggregate square footage for outdoor advertising for each business or structure may not exceed the following. Again, we look under I-1 institutional, and the total allowable square footage of all signage together is 64 square feet. In this case, it's a little unique. They do have 3 individual users at the site. So we would interpret that they could actually have additional signage based on that. But in this case, they currently only have 1 monument sign, and then, which is right at about 32 square feet, we estimated. And then they do have 2, I would call them banners. So sort of a temporary sign on the front and back. So we just included the monument as 1 sign. So here's an aerial view of the property. There you can see on the corner of Newton and Haskins. And then using pictometry, we give you a view. Here's the back of the building. And then here's aimed towards the front. You can see the parking, and it sets back quite a ways really on that corner. And then another view, I guess you kind of say that's the front also, but from Newton. And then another angle more towards the back of the building. Here's actual pictures. So this would be driving along Newton there as you can enter that first driveway there. And then here's another view from Newton. You can see that drive in and then that small monument towards the back there. Here's the front of the building from the second drive to the front. And then here's angled towards the corner. You can see one of those banners on the wall there now. And then here's angled again from Haskins. So there's the back of the building and a portion of the side of the building, or also we'd call that the front, because again, it's a corner lot that would show where they would like to put that signage that was in your packet. And then here's more of a direct picture right on that face of the building from Haskins where they're requesting that signage. And then here's the rendering that was within your packet. So they're proposing approximately that equals out to 176.3 square feet. So we did not receive any written correspondence or phone calls regarding this after sending the required letters. Just to give a little history, there was a past variance back in 2003 related to a retention/detention pond. Again, nothing to do with the signage, but just wanted you to be aware of that. And I do have a copy of the previous sign permit if you do want to see it about the monument. But again, it's, you saw a picture of it and it's about 32 square feet. An advertisement was placed in the newspaper of general circulation as required. A site notice was placed at the site. The other notices required by the Administrative Code were posted in the proper time and location. A letter was mailed, first class mail, to the tax mailing address of the owner and adjoining property owners. Therefore, all the procedure requirements for the hearing have been met.
Very good. Do we have anyone here this evening to speak on that behalf? Would you please step to the dais and state your name and your address?
Good evening. Hi, I'm Kristen Otley. I'm the Parks and Recreation Director with City of Bowling Green. So I'm here on behalf of the City of Bowling Green. The address of my office is 1291 Conneaut Avenue. That good? I mean, I am a resident. I can give you that address, but
If you want to, go
I'm
ahead.
really here on behalf of the city. So,
Okay.
So really, I think Heather explained it pretty well. I'm just kind of here if you have questions. One thing I will mention is that it is not backlit. So they are literally letters on the side of the building. And this is, as you can see with some of the temporary banners and things, it's a really large institutional looking building. And Haskins is 60 miles an hour. So we get a lot of people driving by and saying, oh, what factory is that? Oh, is that a hospital? And for whatever reason, we kind of would like people to know what it is. There's athletic fields in the back where we do have people coming in from out of town to play against the Bowling Green Soccer Club or have tournaments, that sort of a thing. So in my mind, it's kind of a wayfaring opportunity for us as well. So that's kind of where we're at. We started looking into this a couple of years ago. And, as Heather mentioned, there's 3 agencies that cooperatively run that building. Building is owned by the state of Ohio. The Adjutant General's office is completely on board with that. They actually have no paperwork that needs to be filled out because they don't consider this a sign. If it's not going in the ground, like the monument type sign, they said, oh, this isn't a sign to us. So we don't even need to fill out any paperwork with the federal government or the state government. So just thought I'd share that little tidbit of information for you.
Okay, so if you would, just for the sake of the record, identify, although I think we've all heard, the reason for the hardship is the need is what?
So that people know what the building is.
Instead of
driving by and
driving by and
wondering
wondering if it's a
what it is.
hospital or
Yeah.
a business.
Absolutely. And so the Bowling Green Community Center, because of where it's at, without having a whole lot around it, we don't get the advantage of people being there and being at Kroger and looking, oh, there's a workout opportunity there, or there's gyms there or whatever. So, it is a great location, but we want people to understand where that is. And especially those folks coming in from out of town to realize, hey, this is where I'm at. And again, driving by on Haskins, that's really a high speed limit there, which we obviously can't change. And it is, so that would be the hardship. Thank you. It is set back from the road quite a ways as well. And it's not coming up any further than the building itself, not being backlit. I think it looks very attractive, and I think it'll be very, very useful in terms of, again, that wayfinding opportunity for people.
The board have any questions you'd like to ask?
No,
Okay.
I just had a thought. Actually, now, did you consider doing BG Community Center without Bowling Green? Or is that too vague?
I think if you're coming from out of town, it's much more clear to say Bowling Green.
Or City Community Center? I was just trying to think how you could get it smaller.
Are any other questions or comments? We're going to go into
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
executive session at this moment. So members of the board, any discussion necessary? No discussion necessary. We'll go back into the public forum again. And I'll entertain a motion.
Move to approve. Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we approve the variance. All those in favor will have the roll call taken.
Matt,
Yes.
Hess, yes. Dennis, absent. Hobie,
Yes,
Chris,
Yes.
David Fleeger.
Yes.
It passes.
it passed unanimously. So your variance has been granted. Okay, you can stay if you wish, or you can go. There's a football game going on down the street. Yeah. You have not gotten your variance yet.
Which one are you?
I know, it's okay, it's okay. Actually, I'm a graduate student of that. And now the second one to come before us this evening is Gary Lewandowski, who is going to be here on behalf of Betco. He has requested a variance to allow the construction of 4 entranceway signs. These have already been constructed, and they will be at 400 Van Camp Road, which would be larger than the 2 square feet that are allowed. 3 of the signs would be 7.5 square feet, and 1 sign would be 20 square feet. Heather.
Thank you. So under the zoning code, section 150.03 provides us a definition with some regulations on entranceway signs. They define it as a sign indicating an entrance or exit to a commercial, industrial, or institutional site, provided such sign shall not exceed 2 square feet, be located not closer than 5 feet to any right of way, be limited to 1 per driveway, and be internally illuminated. Any entranceway sign shall require a zoning certificate, but not count toward the total number of outdoor advertising structures. An entranceway sign is not a traffic controlled device. So bottom line, the definition allows a max of 2 square feet. So that is what he is requesting that variance for. So as you can see, it's an interesting site. It's a large parcel, but it is also bordered by Newton Road, Fairview, and Van Cap. And it's a pretty big site there. So there's the main building, and then they have an accessory structure back here. Using pictometry, just again to show you some views, this would be the view from Van Camp at the front there, or one of the fronts, I should say again. And then here is looking at the side of the building. And then here's another view. And actually, it's not current pictometry, so you can't see the other structure they have. This is back from 2015. We can only go out so far and show the most recent aerial. And then here's looking toward from Fairview. So you can see they've got the 3 drives there, and then they have another drive off of Van Camp where the signs are each located at each driveway. this is not part of the variance, but again, we're just showing you pictures of the various signage they have now. So they do have one wall sign right there, obviously Betco at the front that faces Van Camp. And then they have a monument sign out front that's there. And then this is more temporary signage, again, just to show you that now hiring, which I think we've all seen a lot of those lately. Again, those two are not part of the variance. And then this is looking at the existing sign here that is off of Van Camp, so showing that drive. And then here's the first one when you're heading north on Fairview. And that is their first driveway where the wayfinding already was built. And I also gave you a letter there of a history of trying to work with the sign companies they've had and then working with Betco to get these corrected since they were built prior to getting the permit. So again, we just tried to work with them and get this cleared up. This is the second driveway showing the other wayfinding sign there, directional sign. Again, that's the 7.5 square feet. And then we have the third driveway that has a larger one at about 20 square feet. And then as part of your packet, this was the sketch we have. So again, we just highlighted the existing signage. We have the one on the building, the two that I showed you in the picture with monuments, again, not required to have a variance. And then we circled the 4 wayfinding signs that are there that need the variance due to the size. So that is it as far as providing you some additional information. We did not have any written correspondence or phone calls from any adjoining property owners. I did want to point out, we did have a variance on file for this address back on July 12th of 2000 when it was Cooper. So they had requested a variance for the construction of a sign that would exceed the 4-foot maximum height by 1 foot. However, records weren't always great historically. So I have a picture of it. It looks honestly very similar, but we have no idea where the location was. There was no site plan in the application packet. So I can't tell you much information besides there was a very similar variance. We just are not really sure where it was at. And it likely was one of those wayfinding signs already there. But again, I couldn't say that with 100% confidence to be able to relay the proper information. But if you want to see a copy, I can hand that out if you want to pass that down. An advertisement was placed in the newspaper of general circulation as required. A site notice was placed at the site. The other notices required by the administrative code were posted in the proper time and location. A letter was mailed, first class mailed to the tax mailing address of the owner and adjoining property owners. Therefore, all the procedure requirements for the hearing have been met.
Very good. Thank you, Heather.
You're welcome.
Mr. Lewandowski, you want to come forward and state your name and your address, please?
Yes, I'll come on. Good evening. Good evening. Hi, I'm Gary. And my address, I live in Toledo. So it's 18 Eaton. I'm in Toledo. So the sign she was discussing, I think is sign 3 right there. That is the legacy sign. That was the old like Cooper sign. The reason for like the other signs is just plain like truck traffic. There are tanker trucks, there are box trucks, and we just get crushed by them. So they need some way in and with some way out. That's the big, and I'm not sure what. So I sent in like pictures and stuff of all the signs and everything else. I'm sorry about this, putting this up. Sorry about that. But it's all parking and for truck traffic. It's just it's mainly the tanker trucks.
Okay. Do we have any questions from the board to Mr. Lewandowski?
Yeah, I've got one. Why is the one, not sign number 7 up there, 20 square foot? You've determined that the others at 7.5 were adequate. And then why couldn't you replace number 2, number 7 with just the 20 square foot one where the number 1 is? Because that's a central location. They can see what the building is. My assumption is they know where they're going. I'm just making an assumption there, obviously.
No, that's fine. There's a story behind this too. Our sign light guy was supposed to apply for all these permits and everything else. And I find out 6 weeks ago that none of this was ever applied for. So I kind of own this now. And We basically can do, I mean, anything that is approved by like this group. These signs were already installed. That's the problem. And I thought that all this stuff was already COK'd. Obviously, see, it wasn't. So if we have to take signs down, then that's fine too. But we can make signs up to any size. We like to have the name on there.
Mhm.
See, like for clarity, and then we have explicit instructions. See, like enter on the left or enter here, whatever's going on.
Well, I guess then my question would be, the locations of these 4 signs.
Yeah.
Were requested by Betco as to making it more convenient for people to do the various things they had to do, whether it was delivery or pickup or notification or whatever.
Correct.
So it was your recommendation of the sign company, but it was the sign company that didn't do the permits, is what you're saying.
Correct. They didn't permit any signs at all. And that's why I marked the map and everything else. So I am here to work this out.
Okay. Do we have other comments or questions from the board?
I also wanted to add something. We could have requested this several different ways. We just felt like this was the cleanest way to do it, was to call them entryway signs. Because technically a business that is industrial, this is zoned M2 general industrial, could have 3 signs, each sign up to 136 square feet in size. So we felt like that would be too confusing to call them permanent signage. It just really seemed like they're clearly entranceway signs trying to direct people into their fairly large facility, and they labeled each driveway. So I'm just pointing that out to you, that we could have requested it different ways. It just seemed like this was the cleanest way. And again, we worked with 2 different sign companies, because one was saying the other one did it, and then this one was saying we're not a sign company anymore. It was just very confusing situation. So that's why we reached out to Betco to just kind of get it cleaned up and work on getting everything
Those
right
drive-
there.
Sorry, I apologize. Those driveways were already there, right?
Yes, correct. Yes, correct. Yes. They
So
were
there's-
unmarked, and with traffic, it was just a mess. We had tanker trucks in and out. We had tanker trucks like just going, it was a mess. So we had to mark something.
Are all of them visitor parking, team member parking?
No, I think there's one that's marked that, and that's the main lot. That's on the right hand, like side of the screen.
Is that number 4? Which one is it?
Me, no, that's gonna be. Excuse me.
Yeah.
That's right here, number 1.
Mm.
Sorry, fellas, I'm going like back and forth.
That's fine.
Okay. I mean, we are prepared to pay a fine. You just tell me.
Like saying go BG might cover that.
Yeah.
I should have shut my mouth on that one. I really should have.
So there's no.
All right,
limit.
well, let's not discuss penalties until we figure out what we're doing. Do we have any other comments or
question.
questions?
I have a
Rose,
question.
go ahead.
So there's no limit on the number of signs, just the square footage, 360 square feet, is that right?
Well, there's a limit for a
Yeah.
business to have up to 3 signs.
Oh,
But an entranceway sign, when I read that definition, you're allowed to have 1 per driveway.
but
at
there
2
is a
square feet.
limit on the square footage total.
Only for the permanent signs. So
Okay.
let's say they had 2 wall signs and 1 ground sign,
Okay,
they can have up to 336
Oh.
total aggregate.
total.
And each sign could be 136. But again, those entranceway signs are not part of the 3
Mhm,
signs, they're not
Okay.
counted.
got it.
Any other comments or
Hmm.
questions of Mr. Lewandowski?
Hmm.
So we're going to go into executive session and discuss this among ourselves, perhaps. So
Sure,
Be patient with us.
I will.
Board members, do you have anything you'd like to?
Thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
My observation is proportionally to the building itself, they are proper.
Yeah.
Both are directional, like you're saying.
You know,
Get them in and out of there.
yes.
A little bit more
If it
sense.
were proportionally not equal, it would be an issue maybe. for us.
Well, and I think had they poured the driveway themselves, they may have designed it. But I guess I appreciate somebody building,
Hmm.
taking over,
And,
involved,
yes.
to have a warehouse. This is what he's got to do. better.
That and the speed of the traffic.
Okay, any other comments? We hearing none, we're gonna go back into the public mode. And I will entertain a motion.
A motion.
Second.
Moved and seconded.
Oh,
To-
I'm sorry, just a minute. My pen went out. Okay.
Chris
Chris, you
seconded.
second?
Moved and seconded to,
To-
yes, sir,
To approve.
to approve. Thank you.
Okay. Chris Sistrowski.
Yes.
David Fligger.
Yes.
Hobie Johnson.
Yes,
Hess, yes. Matt.
Yes.
Dorf.
it has been approved unanimously. Thank you for your patience with us, and we appreciate your business and how well it is enjoying its business. It's doing well.
Been busy. Yes, it has.
Thank you, sir. Okay, you may stay or you may go, whichever you wish to do. Next item up before us is the third thing on our agenda. That's for Matt Ross, who is here on behalf of Clean Water Services. And they have requested a variance to allow the construction of 18 off-street parking spaces, which would encroach into the 35-foot front yard setback, which is zoned M3 Business Park at 1394 Ballard Drive.
Okay, so under
Miss-
section 150.55 of the zoning code titled off-street parking, general provisions under C1, it says no off-street parking or loading space may be placed within a required front yard except within a driveway located within an R1 or R2 district, a single or two-family use located within an R3 or R4 district, or unless located along Worcester Street or Main Street corridors and a buffer is provided according to 150.55I. So when it says it cannot be located within a front yard setback, we then look at the zoning of the property, which in this case is M3 Business Park. So section 150.16 bulk and density regulations. The following for each district are the minimum required residential lot sizes, the required building setbacks, the required minimum lot frontage, the maximum building height, and the maximum lot coverage. Terms are defined in 150.03. So under M3 Business Park, you'll see the minimum setback for the front yard is 35 feet. So he is proposing to have approximately 18 parking spaces within that front yard setback. As you can see, the property is located within Bellard Business Park here on the corner. So there is, again, those two front yards. So he would have 35 feet on both Miller Drive and then along Bellard. Using pictometry, you can see a view of the property. This would be from that side here, and they actually just got approval to add to the facility here. And if driven by there, you'll see they already started that work. And then as part of that, they were hoping to expand that parking to accommodate their business. Using pictometry, here is the front of the building. And then here is the back of the property. And then here's looking from the other front. So that would be that Miller Drive that I pointed out. Showing pictures, this is driving, this would be south along Bellard. So you can kind of get a feel there of the front. And then a little closer up. A little closer there again. And then looking from Bellard at the front of the building. You can see their existing parking there. Another existing parking area. And then again, that addition is going right about here. And you can see where they started digging when we took that picture. And then going to the other side of the building, then you can see the other space there. And then looking again, angled there towards that Miller Drive. Here's a sketch that was in your packet. I know it's hard to read. We just tried to highlight that 35-foot building setback in yellow. And then we tried to highlight green, the parking. So some of the parking is just, here's some almost full spaces there, but then you can see just a little snippet of the proposed parking going past a little bit past that front yard setback. But we just said 18 just to be fair. I mean, it's a total of 18, but then again, a small portion of a few over there. We did not receive any written letters or phone calls from any adjoining property owners. We looked at the record for any prior variances. There were not any. An advertisement was placed in the newspaper of general circulation as required. A site notice was placed at the site. The other notices required by the administrative code were posted in the proper time and location. A letter was mailed first class mail to the tax mailing address of the owner and adjoining property owners. Therefore, all the procedure requirements for the hearing have been met.
Okay, Mr. Ross, would you please go to the dais and give your name and address, please?
Matt Ross, 14160 5 Point Road in Perrysburg. And we have a small family business, 11, 12 employees. Been blessed to expand a couple times over the years. And with this PPP money that the government was doing last year, taking that to invest into the business and add on to our shop space as well as office space and for future employment for employees. I think the basic for the hardship piece of this is that there's no other place to put the parking on our lot. We're a corner lot, so we have two frontages. And there was a little bit of a misunderstanding when we submitted the drawings, thinking that the parking setback was 5 foot all around the property. Come to find out for frontages, it's 35 foot, same as the building setback. So we ran into an issue there where we decided to go ahead and apply for a variance. Now I know there's some discussion, Heather said, potentially for next year for some parking code changes. We don't know what those will be, and we didn't want to necessarily wait on those. So we decided to apply for the variance in order to allow for the parking and for the construction and everything to begin. So anywhere to the south of the property, we can't expand parking. We park there currently for employees, for shop employees. We can't go any further south, and we can go to the north, but it would look to us aesthetically incorrect, and it would go all the way out to the grass by itself to have the parking, 18 spaces all the way out to the north there. So this wouldn't look appearance wise, look good, safety wise for walking distances into the building for employees or customers would be a longer distance, and out there in the open just doesn't appear to be the correct place. So where we placed the parking was there to the west, as well as additional office expansion parking there, I guess be the northwest there. And those are the two areas that we're applying for the variance, as Heather had mentioned.
Board members, do you have any questions? Mr. Ross?
Will there be any greenery or is it just going to be all paved?
Yes, that's Tim's part of the Edge Group that had helped design some of this, and there is obviously already the city treescape plan is in front there to the west, but we can add some type of bushes and, burning bushes, things like that to allow for some protection or blockage there along those frontages there on Bellard.
That would be nice to soften it and.
Right.
Tim, I hate to stop you, but you do have to go or it won't be on the record. Appreciate that. Your name and address, please.
Did you swear in?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Tim Bachberger, landscape architect with Edge. Home address is 11219 Reeds Road in Perrysburg. The landscape architect, helping them with the site plan. So we are adding trees to the frontage requirement, which was, part of that kind of frontage buffering. And then the other thing we talked about was adding a continuous hedge along the frontage of that, whether it be a burning bush or something like that, that would soften, screen the frontage of those cars along that edge that faces Ballard. So, one of the reasons that they kind of need to push out was they have maneuverability that they have to access those garage doors for their business, trucks, equipment coming in and out. So kind of had to put their little ways to make sure they can maneuver, but greenery would be.
Okay. Anyone else from the board wish to ask questions or make comments to either gentleman? Hearing none. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
We will go into executive session. Is there any member of the board that has anything to speak?
No. That makes sense.
Nothing. We will go back into public forum again, and I will entertain a motion.
So moved to
Second.
approve.
Motion to approve and seconded.
Just to be clear, if you're adding a condition of greenery, because I'm hearing that, but
Yes.
it's not being reflected in that motion. So I just want to be clear that if you are or if you are not.
Would you like to amend your motion?
Yes, because I'd agree with what Rose Hess was saying, that They've agreed to add the 5 trees in the line of thing,
Of
of shrubbery in front of that anyway.
So you want a barrier along the front line of the
Mhm.
parking,
Yes.
is what you're asking for.
Yes.
Actually, I agree with that too, because if we're gonna set a precedence here, we could have other properties in that area. I don't want to say take advantage, but also start pushing the boundaries a little bit. So if we're gonna make that available to them, I'd like to see them kind of follow suit if we end up doing
Yeah.
stuff like that.
To make it at least look decent.
Right.
I would
agree.
accept that as the
Okay,
motion rather
yeah,
than as an
let's-
amendment to the motion, okay?
Okay.
So your original motion is to approve
Mhm.
With
a
barrier and the additional
Well,
trees that they
just a minute.
discussed.
along the front line of the parking.
Yes.
Well, they're already putting in 5 trees. That's city, right? Requirement?
Well, there already are trees, so that's
Okay.
why I'm asking to be very specific on,
Okay. that's-
Numbers.
yeah.
So we want to say with the barrier of additional greenery, bushes.
You got to stand up here.
There are currently street trees that exist.
Speak into the microphone
Yeah.
so we can hear.
There are currently street trees that exist that would
Mm-hmm.
remain. In addition to that, for the requirements of adding the parking, we were adding, I'm just gonna make sure I've got it exactly right. 5 trees to the frontage along there. So that was already part of the plan. And then what we would be adding would be the continuous shrub hedge along the frontage of the parking that faces Bellard.
That's what I heard you
Yes.
say. So that's,
Yes.
okay. That's what
Okay.
the motion is to do. Okay, so that's the motion that's before us,
That's acceptable to them.
and that is acceptable with them.
Yes, I was just wanted to question, there's already the trees out front. Need to add more tree, like, an overabundance of already these trees. Here.
Right.
Mhm.
So I was making sure it didn't look lumped together and things too. The continuous shrub hedge would be something that I would say would be, we would be fine with. I just don't want it to make it look too
Right.
lumped together like we're parking in a forest or something.
Mhm.
You know.
Understood. So you're okay with your motion?
Yes.
Okay. The shrub hedge along
Front of the
the
parking.
front.
Yeah.
Right.
Continuous, continuous in
Continuous
Hedge.
along the front of the
front of
parking.
the parking.
Okay. Got it.
So it'd be on the west side of the
Okay.
property. Is that accurate?
That would
West
be
side.
accurate.
Right, and there's those 2 locations there,
Right.
Rose.
On the
That
north
is-
and
that is
south
the
of that
west.
entrance driveway.
Right.
Okay.
It is the west side.
So too. Okay,
Okay, Rose, you caught up? Now we can-
Yes,
Can
okay.
we vote?
on the first, or how are we doing this?
The voting on the motion
It's all
and
in
the
it's all in
full, the
one.
full
All in
motion.
one.
Yes.
Okay. So it's amended. All right, Hobie,
Yes.
Chris,
Yes.
Flicker,
Yes.
Matt Bostorff,
Yes.
Hess, yes. That's it.
Okay, it has been passed unanimously. You have got your variance. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, and then lastly this evening, that we know of, at least on the agenda,
Mhm.
is one from Hal and Nancy Lee of 416 North Grove Street.
Hmm.
They have requested a variance to allow the construction of a 10-foot by 20-foot addition, which is referred to as a lean-to over the existing patio, which would encroach 9 feet, 12 inches into the 20-foot rear yard setback, which is the existing lot of record.
Thank you. So under section 150.86 of the zoning code, existing lots of record, in any district where single-family dwellings are permitted, a one-family detached dwelling may be erected on any lot as defined in 150.02, 40 feet or wider of official record as of the effective date of this chapter, irrespective of the area of the lot, provided the owner of such lot does not own any adjoining property, and provided further in section B, in no case shall the depth of the rear yard of any such lot be less than 20 feet. So this is sort of an interesting parcel or parcels. So, you may remember this was the North Grove carryout years ago. And so it was a legal nonconforming use. And then it sort of still is a legal nonconforming use as a lesser use because now it's residential. So this is the back parcel that's a single family use. And then there's a front because again, it's a separate parcel that's residential. But in this case, it's the 416 North Grove that they're asking to do this back lean-to. So using pictometry, you can see the whole structure there, but again, it's this back half here that they're asking for the variance. And then here's looking at the front of the parcel. And then here's the back. And then here's the other side of the property. And then here is looking at the back of the property there. You can see that existing patio that's referenced, that they would like to cover a portion of that. And a little closer up, you'll see there is existing, their temporary sort of gazebo structure. And then here's the sketch as part of your packet. You can see where it's highlighted there that there'll be approximately 10 foot 4 inches from that back property line. But again, being an existing parcel from several decades ago, they're allowed to be the 20-foot minimum instead of what today's code says, which would be 30 feet. So just pointing out that difference. We did receive one note back that I gave you a copy of. So they had received our letter. Clearly it's from, let's see, Daniel and Martha Rodeski, 215 Liberty Street, Bowling Green, Ohio. So they had received our letter from the planning department, and then they sent it back to us with a note. It says, they wrote on here, handwritten, received 10/29/2021. They returned it to us 11/3 or November 3rd of 2021. They wrote, I have no reservations with the variance request of Mrs. or Mr. Lee, or the Lees, I'm sorry, the Lees, Dan Rodeski, 215 Liberty Street, Bowling Green, Ohio. So I wanted to give you a copy of that. So you saw that was the only letter we received and no phone calls. An advertisement was placed in newspaper, general circulation is required. A site notice was placed at the site. The other notices required by the administrative code were posted in the proper time and location. A letter was mailed, first class mailed to tax mailing address of the owner and adjoining property owners. Therefore, all the procedure requirements for the hearing have been met.
Okay, if the Lees would please come forward and come to the dais, state your name and address and your reason for hardship.
My name's Hal Lee. My address is 416 North Grove Street. We enjoy very much being outside with our kids and our grandkids. And as you can see from the picture of the patio back there, we try and keep it looking really nice. My wife has beautiful flowers and excuse me. And we just wanted to have this. It's a kit, by the way. It was, I don't know how this kept saying in that addition, but it's a kit. It'll be freestanding on the pad itself. We just want to enjoy the outside with our kids and our grandkids. Basically, the lot is, I don't know, very, very unique. And the whole property is unique. And you know, we don't have much of a yard, and we just want to utilize what we have and enjoy it. That's all.
Heather, can you go back to, we can look at the backyard, please? There was one that looked from the side,
This one?
right there. Mhm. It's very nice.
It'll be, like I said, it's going to be a complete cedar structure.
That's what I was going to ask. What is?
Yeah, it's what they call a cedar look. It's a treated lumber with a cedar tone. And it'll have a metal roof, and it'll, you know, it's an actual kit. Like I said, it has I think five 4x4 posts on both sides holding it up, and a slight pitch to it.
Does it lash to your house, or is
No,
it's
it's
totally
no,
freestanding?
No, it'll be freestanding
But it
on
only,
its
the
own.
roof only slopes one direction.
Correct, away from the home,
And it's going to sit on the patio.
existing concrete patio, correct.
Any other questions from anyone? I see none, so we're going to go into our executive session, sir. Thank you. Anyone have anything you want to comment about?
And they're kind of tight on space, so.
Okay, I hear none. We'll go back into the public forum. And I will entertain a motion.
So moved to approve as.
Moved to approve
I'll second.
and seconded. And Rose, when you're ready.
Chris,
Yes.
Matt,
Yes.
yes. David,
Yes. Yes.
Toby,
Yes.
pass it.
Okay, then it has been approved. Your variance has been granted. Is there anybody else out there that would like to speak to the board? Anything? Just want to get to that football game, don't you? Okay. Well, I thank you all for coming tonight and take a motion to adjourn.
Moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded.